Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.
My friends and I always tune into the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Todd is entertaining, informative, and always delivers the goods.
Todd might not tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to tell you what you need to hear. And all you got to do is listen.
Hold on, Todd. Don't let go. It's time for the Todd L. Levitt Law Show.
I was alone, cruising with the wind. I wasn't looking when you pulled me in. I had to leave you like I always did. You knew damn well I'd come again. Now I'm falling where I've never been. My resistance is wearing thin. Somewhere in the distance, like a long lost friend. Oh, 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 oh. Yeah, yeah. Lord, here I come again. Come again.
Welcome to the Todd L. Levitt Marijuana Law Podcast. Good morning, good evening, and good night. I'm yours truly, attorney Todd L. Levitt, broadcasting and podcasting with my good friend Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, in the middle of the mitten, in the Black Diamond Group mothership, in a beautiful green nutrient field. Depending upon where you live and where you're listening to this podcast, the weather could be hot, warm, cold, snow, wet, moist. That goes out to you, Craig.
Thanks.
But here in the Mitten State, Craig, we just got destroyed yesterday. Again, depending upon where you live, the water is definitely wet. The trails are full of snow. And how you doing, Craig? That's all I got, and it's time to go.
It's time to go already? Wow, the show's over? Okay.
Yeah, show's over.
No,
the
no,
30-second show.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good night, everybody. We'll see you later. No, I'm doing good. Todd, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I was able to shred the gnar one last time on my carbon fiber salsa spearfish at the Dragon Trail, located in beautiful Newaygo and Macassa counties. 11.5 miles if you start at the Hardy Dam, heading north towards Big Bend and a couple of the parks there to the north. It was just spectacular. And if you are a fan of YouTube, feel free to check out some of my new videos of this 55-year-old shredding a single track, barely falling off a cliff. So just type in my name, Todd Levitt, Levitt, and check out how beautiful pure Michigan can be, an hour northwest of Grand Rapids. And Craig, you yourself had some outstanding fast food videos posted last week. Where were you, my fine feathered friend? As the music just started playing, the show's over, folks. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Where were you? We got to go. Tommy Shaw, Uncle Ted, see you later. Damn Yankees. Where were you last week filming and chowing on cholesterol?
Where was I? I was at Taco John's. That was the place I was at. I also did the McRib. McRib is delicious. Got a new one for Popeyes coming up as well. So not only follow Todd on Facebook, Todd L. Levitt.
I'm not on Facebook. We're talking Facebook. YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Also, I'm that fast food guy on YouTube. So you got two places to go. And I think everybody who
I have like 2 followers.
Well, you know what? I don't have a whole lot more than that, but I've gotten a few people from the show who have started following me on YouTube, and I appreciate that. It's that fast food guy on YouTube if you like fast food reviews. So it's
Yeah, great show. I love it. I watch yours over and over and over. I like it. I comment. I cringe at your cholesterol levels and HDL and LDLs. My YouTube channel, named after yours truly here, is strictly biking videos. So I don't know if you're interested in seeing what northern Michigan looks like on a single track. Check it out. But Craig, huge show today, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Damn Yankees opened up with my go-to all-time number one supergroup, Damn Yankees.
They are the best. Tommy Shaw and you already said Uncle Tedley is in that band as well. Great song.
Love Uncle Ted.
They that was the early '90s version of Uncle Ted was the Damn Yankees and stuff. So they were good. You know, I was thinking about this. Our YouTube channels are about as polar opposite as possible. Yours is all about, adventure and hiking and on your bike, and you're doing healthy stuff and you're out in nature, and I'm sitting in my car shoveling fast food in my mouth. It's like about as opposite as can be.
Yeah, that is true. But I love your channel, and you love mine.
And I love yours too. So love our channels together. What is on the big show today? What are we talking about?
The phone lines have been blowing up. The email has been destroyed. And the question that has come across the wire is, are you guys going to talk about the House passing the MORE Act?
Well,
and is weed now legal? Everybody's asking me last week because we didn't talk about it on the show last week.
No.
Great show, by the way, last week.
No.
You can definitely catch it on every podcasting platform. We're out there. But
all over.
The House did pass the MORE Act, and we are going to talk about that in the upcoming segments, as well as other interesting stories and tidbits. Craig Russell.
If I know you, and I think I do know you, if I know you, you probably have something that you want to maybe pontificate about. You've got a complaint about something possibly?
Pontification. My complaint is to anyone and everyone who stops in the great town and city of Clare, Michigan. Clare, Michigan. Two complaints here. Okay. One, it doesn't matter how many times I drive through downtown Clare, home of Caps and Donuts and the Doherty, Busili's Pizza, and some other great businesses. You definitely want to check out. Make sure you get to all your small towns and spend time at the carryouts. I mean, we need to support our mom and pop restaurants and businesses that are currently under lockdown, shutdown. So I do that as often as possible. But last week I was on my way to J Sporting Goods to exercise my Second Amendment rights, as I often enjoy doing with the rest of the listeners. So I'm on my way to Jay's. And Craig, you're familiar with Clare. Once you head north on Clare, folks, you're going to come under the highway, 127, the viaduct right there.
Yeah.
And there is a light that is located once you pass under the highway, and there's an entrance ramp heading north on 127 towards the Upper Peninsula.
Yeah, right by the the Speedway gas station that's right by there.
Yeah, but the problem is when you're heading under the overpass, where the entrances to the highway doesn't fit in conjunction where the light and overpass is. It fools you every time. It doesn't matter how often I drive under that overpass. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to go under the overpass and get immediately on the highway. It doesn't work like that. And there's a lot of listeners who know exactly what I'm talking about. It drives me crazy. And I would love all of our friends at the Michigan Department of Transportation. They do a fantastic job year round. Can you please find the funds wherever they are to change that entrance ramp so that it's literally located once you pass under there? That's my complaint.
And it's a valid one, too. That one, it screws me up every time I've been under there as well, because I know exactly what you're talking about. You think you're going to turn left, and you really don't, because the light's right there. It's kind of off-centered. It's really weird. Unfortunately, you and I both know the government and bureaucratic powers that be, it takes a long time to change something like that, just to move a light.
And money.
Money. But if you were going to try to petition them to just move that light, or just to change that intersection a little bit, it would probably take years and millions upon millions of dollars for them just to make that slight adjustment.
And by no means is this a complaint against the men and women who work for the Michigan Department of Transportation. No. It's more just an annoyance. The other thing that just, annoys my noggin is if you're heading south on 127 and you are already past the first clear exit to get off to where all the fast food restaurants are to head downtown towards the south.
Right.
You can't get back on the highway at that point. There is no entrance ramp to the south. Same thing with Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And I was told by a friend of mine, at the MDOT, it would be a $20 million renovation to put an exit ramp heading south to get, to Clare from the south. And same thing with Mount Pleasant, Michigan. So I don't know why we're complaining about our local highways and byways this week, but you asked and I'm answering.
Well, because the thing that I was wondering, not only would it cost so much to fix it and it takes years and years and red tape and stuff like that, but who thought of that to begin with? Who thought that was a good idea to not put a southbound lane on the
It's the same. It's the same people that came up with the Big Beaver Road exit number 69 in Troy, Michigan, in Oakland County. Thank you, everybody.
But now that's better. That's actually got some creativity to it. That actually isn't bad. I kind of actually enjoy that one. You just wonder why those people came up with this convoluted way to get back on and off the highway, why they couldn't have done something different up north, yet they can create that.
To make up for it, Craig, to make up for it, the annoyance, you have to drive all the way 2 hours south on 75 to the great town of Troy, where you can not only get on, but you can get off, my dear friend, on the Family Show on exit 69, Big Beaver Road, Troy, Michigan. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody. Damn Yankees, take us out.
Show's over. Well, that's it.
Show's over, yeah.
A quick show, man. We are
way too much banana sherbet going around the studio this morning.
Oh, that's what the
way too much.
That's the strain of the week this week is banana sherbet.
The strain of the millennium is banana sherbet, which is definitely a potent hybrid, folks, which is a cross between banana kush. We love any kind of kush. And sunset sherbet. So, yeah, banana sherbet. That one goes out to AZ, G Money, JJ, and everybody at M66. Big shout out to Consano, my favorite dispensary in the state of Michigan. Well, we love all the dispensaries, but big shout out to Consano.
All right.
They're in downtown Mount Pleasant. But, yeah, hey, Craig.
Well, Todd, before you go any farther, Todd, I'm going to stir the pot up here a little bit. You ready to have the pot
Stir the pot
You
up?
Ready for me to stir the pot up? You ready for this? It's not sherbet. It's not sherbet. It's
what is it?
Sherbet. There's no R. There's no Bert in sherbet.
It is sherbet.
It's
French. Is it French?
I don't know, but I know there's no.
How about sherbet?
That's sorbet. I think you're thinking of. Slightly,
Craig,
different.
I'm 55. I'm not going to change my dialect. I don't even say California right. I don't pronounce the R. It's California.
That's true.
But it's much easier to say California, isn't it?
That's true, but whenever you say sherbet, I always think of Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street. And it's not Bert. It's not.
Nice reference on the.
Thank you. You like that?
Great. Now that song is going to be going off in my head over and over and over, the Sesame Street song. Thanks for that, Craig. I'm going to have to destroy it with some damn Yankees in my noggin today.
Sunny day, take me up.
No.
Clouds away.
So here's my other complaint.
Okay.
Folks. And look, most men and women understand this concept. If you're going through a drive-through, and this is the same Claire. I love Claire. Am I saying it right? Claire.
Yeah, that's you're saying right.
Claire.
Yep.
Yeah, Claire, Michigan. There's a McDonald's there. Shout out to everyone who works at that McDonald's, but it's a double lane drive-through.
Sure.
And folks, if I'm on, this is like a NASCAR race. I was in the inside lane last week, the same day I'm on my way to J Sporting Goods to exercise my Second Amendment rights. I like saying that because we love the Second Amendment. We love the entire Constitution, all the amendments for that matter. But I'm in the left lane. I'm on the inside track. I place my order, and the vehicles in the right lane ordering. It took 3 vehicles before they allowed me, when I was already done placing my order, to move forward. And I'm sitting there thinking, are you kidding me? Yeah. Come on. Like, really, folks? Do you not see me sitting over here? Do you not understand that it goes one, then the other?
Yeah,
one,
exactly.
then the other. I mean, slow down, enjoy some banana sherbet, and there's a protocol here. So then I get all the way up to the window, and the lady at the drive-thru took my money. The next window had no idea what my order was. They were all screwed up because our great citizens, which I love the state of Michigan, they were in too much of a hurry to get wherever they were going, and I was 4th in line and did not even finish the race at the Michigan NASCAR race there at the McDonald's located in Clare, Michigan. Way too much information, Craig.
No, but I understand that whole, it's supposed to be the left one goes and then the right one goes, and left and right. You go. It's an on and off thing. You don't just go 3 on the right and then 1 to the left. You go the left one and the right one. And then
imagine this. I got cut off by a Prius. Okay.
Big hair.
And I got cut up, not big hair, should have been. Big Hair cut his hair, so he's no longer Big Hair. A Prius cut me off. A mini, and then after the Prius was a minivan, I wrote down the type of vehicles, and then a Honda. And I'm not knocking any of these vehicles, but you know what I noticed, Craig? And we are a law show, and we have to go to break. But I did notice that, you know how they say that your dogs and your pets start to resemble their human companions. You ever hear that?
Yeah.
And husband and wife, after decades or years, will start to walk and talk alike.
And finish each other's
You've heard that too, right?
And stuff. Yeah, it finishes.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm convinced that cars and their owners look alike. That if you look at a certain type of vehicle, that more often than not, the driver of that vehicle fits that type of vehicle. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I've noticed that. Have you noticed that?
Yep, I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
And it's not a criticism, but it's just certain types of people drive certain types of vehicle, and it's almost as if they morph. You can absolutely, identify without even seeing who's in that vehicle what they may or may not look like.
Yep,
I'm just saying, and it's not a bad thing. It's just a comment.
You're talking about Big Hair and his flannel. I understand that, in his Prius. I get it. I totally get it. I know where you're going with that.
Hey, how about the House passed the MORE Act? Are we going to talk about that?
Yes, we are. We're going to talk about that in segment 2. We've got to take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. We will be right back.
I was alone, I cruising with the wind. I wasn't looking when you pulled me in. I had to leave you like I always did. You knew damn well I'd come again. Now I'm falling where I've never been. My resistance is wearing thin. Somewhere in the distance, like a long lost friend. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah. Lord, here I come again. Come again.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Craig, how you doing, buddy?
I am fan-flippin-tastic. How are you, Todd?
I'm doing well. And how is your weekend going?
It's been good. Obviously, we've had a turn of the weather. It seems like we've kind of gotten back to winter, even though it's been a lot drier winter around here. If you remember last year, around this time, we had a lot more snow, especially to the north. Like Houghton Lake and Gaylord and Traverse City all had like a bunch of snow at this point and have had very little this year. It's kind of weird. But it's now starting to feel more like Christmas and everything. Are you getting ready? Christmas is in like a week and a half. Are you about ready?
I love Christmas, so I haven't bought any presents at this time, but I'll get around to it. I'll hit some dollar stores for sure. This year, everybody's getting presents from the dollar store because the dollar stores are lit. They're legit. And what I'm planning on doing is buying gift certificates at all the different restaurants, the mom and pop restaurants.
Yes.
To support all these mom and pop restaurants that have been just, destroyed by what has gone on in this country and in the world. So I just want to keep supporting those who need it most. And I'm getting as many gift certificates as I can. So anyone and everyone, which is a handful, and that's about it, who gets a present from me, after all these years, you're getting a restaurant gift certificate.
Well, and also remember, even if you like to frequent the chain restaurants, not necessarily fast food, but in general, those all employ people who work and live in our communities. That's the other part of it. So, yes.
Right, but some of these major brand fast food restaurants, and again, I don't have numbers. I don't know this factually. So as an attorney, I always go by what's factually accurate.
Sure.
Their drive-thrus are always packed. Burger King, Popeyes, McDonald's. You can go Taco Bell. And I do frequent those places because there are people who are employed there in our community, and we want to keep them employed. But I'm referring to some of the other, family-owned husband and wife businesses that are small town restaurants, diners, and those type of businesses. And we don't talk politics on this show, but I don't see the difference in going to some of these big box stores where there's hundreds of people walking around, and yet all these restaurants have just been destroyed by what's taken place. And again, I'm staying out of the politics, so we don't get involved in it.
No,
it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it just doesn't make any sense. And look, I understand everybody wants to be healthy, keep safe. I've had a number of family members of my own family who have had COVID. They're doing well, thank God.
Good.
And prayers out to everybody else out there who's fighting it and may have lost, loved ones. But I just don't see the justification that, the big stores are open and you're walking around with hundreds of people, and yet you can't go into a local diner.
From the National Restaurant Association, over 10,000 restaurants in this country have closed permanently due to the financial hardships of the coronavirus and the COVID-19 pandemic. So, yes, I totally understand what you're saying. I'm saying, in general, support businesses all over, because not only are there those big box stores, if they end up closing, there's a bunch of people who are going to be out of work. Plus, you also want to make sure the mom and pop stores, places like all the restaurants and all the bars that we do our bike nights at for 98.5 UPS. So make sure you definitely support them. Support your local businesses as well. Shop local this holiday season.
Please support them.
Yes.
Make sure you over tip if you're able to the staff. Support them, please. But hey, Craig, we are a law show.
We are, and
we need to talk law.
Yes, we do, and I need to talk about one other thing though. Also, let's not forget this. The holidays are coming up. Please make sure you take it easy. Don't drink and drive. Make sure you have a designated driver if you go anywhere. A lot of people aren't necessarily going a lot of places, but even if you just go, to pick up some stuff on the way home or whatever, you go to a friend, a small gathering with friends, please be careful. And also, don't call those big downstate law firms if something happens, like you get pulled over for a DUI or something. Call the local guy, Todd Levitt, 772-6000, 989-772-6000.
Appreciate the shameless plug
well,
there.
I'm just saying, if we're supporting small local businesses, you're a small local business too, so make sure they support you. Don't call the ones that names rhyme or, the family that serves you, blah, blah, blah. Call your local guy, Todd Levitt, 989-772-6000. That's all I got to say.
Well, thank you, Craig. I appreciate the support.
Yes.
Sincerely.
Now let's talk about the MORE Act. What was that all about this week?
So the question is, Craig, here's the big question. The fact that the House passed the MORE Act, is weed legal now? That's my question to you, Craig Russell. What say you?
It's not.
It is not. No.
It is not.
Well,
it's not legal in places it isn't already legal, state-wide. You're talking federally and in states that don't have medicinal or recreational cannabis laws already making it legal, like in Michigan.
This is sort of old news with our audience. So yes, that's
right.
This is sort of old news. But over the last week or so, the House of Representatives on the federal level, there's one of my dogs in the background there, approved a bill basically that takes marijuana off the list of dangerous drugs. And now the bill goes where, Craig?
It goes to the Senate, where it will die, unfortunately.
Yeah. But let's say it passes the Senate, then where does it go, Craig?
Well, then it has to be signed into law by the president.
Or vetoed. Unless it is veto-proof. And I just don't see that happening at all. And at this point, folks, to jingle another annoying song for your noggin from those of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s, it's just a bill. It's just a bill on Capitol what, Craig?
Capitol Hill, but it's going to die.
It's just a bill on Capitol Hill. To whoever created that jingle, come on, man. I mean, what? I mean, brilliant, but
well, think about when that thing's 45 years old, and you still remember it. That little song from Schoolhouse Rock. That's
well,
pretty,
I had to put
good.
on Danny Zuko on Grease so that I could get summer lovin' had me a blast. Summer lovin' happened so fast.
Okay, look
anyway,
here, Danny.
I can't sing.
Leave the singing to Danny. There you go.
So when that song came out, I would ask, "Hey, Mom, can you play on VHS Grease over and over so I can get that song. It's just a bill on Capitol Hill. I mean, they would play it on Saturday morning cartoons in between, cartoons. But anyhow, it was historic that the House passed it. And what does it do, basically? And it passed, by the way, the vote was 228 to 164.
It's pretty significant. Pretty significant.
Yeah, and again, I think it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But how is it a good thing if it doesn't go anywhere? But at least, as symbolic as it is, cannabis must, folks, be removed from Schedule 1. It's just enough is enough already. It truly is. I mean, enough is enough because, and we've talked about this, but this new bill, let's just say in another dimension, it did pass the Senate. The president signs off on it. Or maybe it passed, to a certain amount of signators that it didn't matter whether it might be veto proof. That's a whole nother class on political science, but the bill refers to a cannabis justice office that would be created to carry out grant programs, Craig, and that would include job training, reentry services, literacy programs, youth and mentoring programs, health education, substance use treatment for individuals. What I would like to do, here's a brilliant idea. How about the House passes the bill, which they did, the Senate passes the bill. There's no problem at the executive level. It becomes a law, and here it is, folks. You take all that revenue and you use it, the tax base, to support all these mom and pop businesses that have been affected by the pandemic and the shutdown.
Problem solved. Show's over, folks. We gotta go.
Show's over, folks. Take us out with some damn Yankees because
Todd solved it all.
Todd Levitt for U.S. Senate.
Someday, I'm still convinced someday you're running for office.
No. Listen, we don't talk politics. I think people know which way I lean. I love the Constitution, and I'll just leave it at that, Craig.
Yep. I think
we stay out of the weeds, no pun intended. But again,
some weeds. Thank you.
Yeah, some weeds, right? In fact, today it's banana sherbet because you will not allow me to say sherbet.
Well, that's not. There's no R in sherbet in that part of sherbet. There's SHERBET. That's
it's sherbet.
Sherbet. Yep.
Yeah.
Not sherbet.
To place marijuana under a Schedule 1 substance together with heroin makes no logical sense, and I think everyone out there would agree. And for the first time since the 70s, it wouldn't be treated equal to heroin or PCP. It would no longer be a Schedule 1 drug. So, but at this time, folks, it's sad to say it's just a bill. It's just a bill. We're Craig Russell.
It's going to die on Capitol Hill.
It is just a bill on Capitol Hill. It's pretty interesting if you pay attention to state or, your state politics or at the federal level. Forget all the noise that goes on every day out there. But if you just pay attention, if you were asleep in, political science class or social studies in elementary school or junior high or high school, I was asleep for everything but English, history, and this type of conversation we're having. So I understood early on the separation between the different branches of government and how, there's committees and there's bills that are introduced. But what most people don't pay attention to is all the big money lobbyists out there that have, massive influence on some of these bills and where they are headed, depending upon what industry is trying to influence, what legislation. So, I don't want to bore our listeners with all this, but I find it really interesting how, somebody will introduce a bill, try to, whether it's partisan or bipartisan support, and then how it gets passed into committees and there's discussions, conferences, and does it go anywhere or does it just, float away or does it pass? It's pretty interesting.
Well, I think it's interesting, and I think this was what they call a preemptive strike, because they knew. So here, let's just lay this out here for a second. Okay, Right now, there is a Democratic majority in the House of Representatives, and there is a Republican majority in the Senate, which are the two branches, the two voting branches of the government, and then there's the executive branch where the president is. So I think everybody knew it was going to pass in the House, and it was not going to even be taken up by the Senate, because right now, even if it needed just a simple majority, if everybody voted on party lines, which I don't necessarily know everyone would, it would probably still lose. But here's something to know. This runoff election in Georgia in January could change the tenor of the Senate. There could be a 50-50 split, which then the vice president, who would be Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, would be the deciding vote on any tiebreaker vote necessary, and she's Democratic. So it's odd that they brought it up now instead of maybe waiting a couple of months when the whole election brouhaha all settles down and everything. You would have thought maybe then they would have brought it up then, thinking it might have a better chance to pass both houses, especially depending on how this runoff election goes. I don't know. I think they were setting it up for being able to reintroduce it again maybe later on, maybe like after the coronavirus is all settled down and the vaccine gets out and everybody gets it. So maybe that's it. I don't know, but it seemed weird.
You know what? I don't know either. I have no idea. But
I'm sorry, I lost you. You're probably falling asleep over on the other
I'm
side.
going to re-listen to the podcast version of the show because
Yes.
I had damn Yankees going off in my head, and I'm really upset that I referred to banana sherbet with an RT in it, and it's sherbet. So you lost me on that one. But no, I understand what you're saying. And look, if you look across the map in the United States, there are both Republican and Democratic states where cannabis is now legal and or medical. So, at the state level, things are looking pretty good, and they're going to continue to look pretty good. And so, that's a good thing, Craig.
We have some more state cannabis news coming up in just a little bit. We do have to take a break on the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. When we come back, more damn Yankees.
I was alone, cruising with the wind. I wasn't looking when you pulled me in. I had to leave you like I always did. You knew damn well I'd come again. Now I'm falling where I've never been. My resistance is wearing thin. Somewhere in the distance, like a long lost friend. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah. Lord, here I come again. Come again.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show, coming back strong. I love Uncle Ted. I love Uncle Ted, early on Uncle Ted from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Once an Uncle Ted Nugent fan, always a Ted Nugent fan, Craig Russell.
You're a big Uncle Ted fan. I actually talked to Uncle Ted once.
I used to be on his radio show way back in the day in the 90s as a regular guest.
Wow, that's a long time
How do you like
ago.
that? That's a true story.
That's a long time ago.
He had his own radio show on a station called The Bear, not to be confused with the great station as part of the Black Diamond Group group of stations, but he would broadcast, I believe, from his house in Jackson, Michigan. Isn't that correct, Craig?
That is correct. It was the Bear, not also to be confused with Fred Bear either. Different Bear altogether.
Love Fred Bear. That's a great song.
I know.
Is that song is just, it's so pure Michigan.
It is. Completely. Especially around this time of year, hunting time and everything. I mean, it's like the anthem of northern Michigan.
Can we play some Fred Bear right now?
The spirit of the woods is like an old good friend. Makes me feel warm and good inside. And I knew his name, and it was good to see him again. 'Cause in the wind he's still alive. Oh, Fred Bear, walk with me down the trails again. Take me back where I belong. Oh, Fred Bear, I'm glad to have you at my side, my friend. And I'll join you in the big hunt before too long.
Oh, Fred Bear, walk with me. I should stop singing. I don't do it any justice. Uncle Ted's.
That's just about the same level of artistic rendition as I performed early on. I can't even recall from what the first or second segment which song I was just.
You were doing Summer Lovin', Had Me a Blast.
Summer Lovin' had me a blast. Summer Lovin' happened so fast.
Hey, speaking of John Travolta,
crazy for me.
Okay, Todd.
I can't sing.
I know.
Even if I had instruments or technology to help my voice sound better, it doesn't even work.
Nope. I know. Speaking of John Travolta, you know what he's doing these days?
Probably acting, I take it.
He is. He's in
flying planes. He's a pilot acting in flying planes.
He's actually in a Capital One commercial with Samuel L. Jackson. He plays Santa Claus. It's pretty funny.
Come on, man.
Pretty
I
funny.
didn't see that.
Pretty
Are you
funny.
kidding me?
Fire up your old Dish Network, your Dish thing there, and watch it. It's pretty funny.
I'll have to watch that.
Yes. Hey, this is a law show. We should probably talk a little bit about the law. Where were you practicing law this year or this week, Todd?
This past week, I had a number of hearings with the Department of State in Michigan, a.k.a. the Secretary of State. So we were able to successfully reinstate a number of individuals with restricted driving privileges, and some were seeking removal. So in the state of Michigan, if you're denied and revoked and you're eligible for, at minimum, restricted privileges, after 365 days of successful operating a motor vehicle with no major violations, rolling retest, 3 startup failures, tamper, circumvent, if you're able to operate a vehicle successfully for 365 days and that device is installed for 365 days, then you can seek removal and changes from restrictions to full licensing. So that's something we do on a regular basis. Something else we do a lot of in the state of Michigan, we have something called Sobriety Court, and albeit there are certain statutes that will deny and revoke someone's ability to operate a motor vehicle. When I say denied and revoked, I'm referring to if you have 2 convictions for any combination of drinking and driving in the state of Michigan within 7 years, Craig, your license will be revoked. There are no restrictions. And after a period of 1 year, you become eligible to seek restrictions. But if you enter into a sobriety court program within the county in which the offense took place, the sobriety court, there's a special provision within certain statutes that will allow the court to seek and apply for restrictions with the ignition interlock device. So my point is, we handle at Levitt Law Firm in Mount Pleasant, it doesn't matter where you live in the state, a lot of reinstatement of individuals who are possessing that sobriety court restricted license. So if you or somebody out there has a sobriety court restricted license with the ignition interlock device, that's something that we do. We assist those individuals in sobriety court to get them back on the road. And there's some great men and women. Susan Guernsey does a great job in Mecosta County with Judge Jakelovic. I love Judge Jakelovic. He's just a great judge, and Miss Guernsey does a great job. You have Lisa Ashley in Gladwin and Clare counties to the north. You have Dory in Roscommon. She does an amazing job. We have Kate Mitchell in Isabella County, and then even in Gratiot, further south. I mean, there's some great men and women that oversee these sobriety court programs. And so a sobriety court program, folks, in the state of Michigan, we also have Veterans Court. So if you're a veteran, we love our veterans, all the men and women who have served and who continue to serve. If you do have substance abuse or psychological issues, instead of just throwing you on probation and throwing you in jail, there's an opportunity, depending upon which county that you were arrested and what you were arrested for, to enter into a veterans court program which is similar to sobriety court, just amazing men and women. So the whole theory behind all these sobriety court, veterans court programs, mental health court, Judge Black here in Isabella County, our probate judge, has introduced all types of programs and policies in regards to these type of courts. He does a great job. Judge Spencer Nagel here does a great job too in regards to sobriety court with all the staff. But in order to get into one of these programs, you have to qualify, and it's state funded. So there's a whole application process, and there's a whole board of men and women who will make the decision as to whether or not you're a good candidate for that position in sobriety court, in drug court, in veterans court, because there's only so many funds to go around. And instead of throwing away the key and throwing you in jail or prison, they're trying to, be more creative in these court programs. So, so where have I been in addition to the state of Michigan? I was in Osceola County via Zoom. Big shout out to everybody in Osceola County, Big Rapids, and Judge Jake Levick. He does both counties. Brian Thiede is a prosecutor over there. Gratiot County, Isabella, Roscommon. I had some cases in Clare and Gladwin this past week, Craig. So we were quite busy at Levitt Law Firm during COVID. The courts are on Code 1 or Code Red. They're very short-staffed. A lot of men and women are working from home, but they have continued to do a great job in making sure that justice keeps moving along. That was a long-winded answer, Craig.
No, it's a good answer though.
But I would highly recommend, if you were somebody out there, you have a loved one who has recently been arrested and is being charged with a drinking, a drug offense involving a motor vehicle or otherwise, or your loved one is a veteran of our great military services, which we love. Look into these programs within the state of Michigan, because they're amazing, and the recidivism rate is very low. Meaning, folks, what recidivism is what is the likelihood of someone to reoffend? And these programs have proven now, because they've been around for years, that individuals who do go into these programs are not likely to reoffend. And they'll, these men and women continue to live healthy, productive lives. And that's what we want everybody to do, because these men and women who go through these programs, there are mothers, there are fathers, there are brothers, there are sisters, our uncles, our aunts, our neighbors, there are siblings, there are children. Nobody out there is perfect. I mean, humans are not perfect creatures. We all have shortcomings and defects. So I always say, as a lawyer, you should never judge anyone until you first judge yourself. And I live by that, Craig.
Well, and you shouldn't judge anybody in general. That there's only one person who can judge people, and that's the Lord above. But not to get into that.
I agree with that 100. Yep. I agree 100% with that, that concept.
But
we all have defects and shortcomings. And
nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. The key is to, try to not let our defects get the best of us and try to make good choices. Because again, we have all these chemicals that, can go off whack sometimes. When I was younger, I made a lot of mistakes. I got in trouble. I had to go to court. I'm not shy about it. I turned it around. Here I am today. I'm an attorney.
That's right.
So I had to go to court in Royal Oak, 44th District Court, when I was in high school a few times.
So I have a question for you, and maybe you don't know the answer to this, and maybe we need to ask
full disclosure there.
Yeah, I know. Maybe we need to ask this to people out there who are listening to the podcast.
That's just what I got caught. I mean, other things I did, but poor choices, I never got caught. I'm not trying to glorify making poor choices, but who of us out there have not? I was 15 years old driving a K car to Canada, for goodness sakes.
But see, there you go.
Story.
I know you end up getting, but when you get caught, and then you end up having to suffer the consequences of it. That's how action happens. That's how change happens, and that's how you decide to try and turn things around. You don't want to sit in jail.
Yeah, but when you're younger, or when you make poor choices, I look back, I didn't even care. You're not thinking about those that love and support you. You're just, I was reckless. I was careless. I was selfish.
You're a kid.
Well, I was a teenager, but again, even once you get in trouble, you just think, okay, I'm gonna push the envelope again and do this and do that. I'm not saying to everybody out there, go out and do something wrong and push the envelope. I'm just speaking of my own experience and what led me to become a defense attorney. I get it.
Well, and again, until you have to face the consequences, usually most people will go, hey, I got away with it the last time. I'm going to keep getting away with it until something happens.
Exactly.
Now, here's my question. And again, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but maybe people listening to the podcast in different states, do they have these kind of programs for like veterans and stuff in other states, or is it just in Michigan? Do you know?
It's a good question. Possibly somebody out there who listens to the show on podcasts, which is downloaded 10,000 times each show, which we appreciate all over the world, all over the country.
Very much so.
Let us know. Let us know.
Todd Levitt Law Show at gmail.com, because I'd be interested to know if in other states they have some of these programs, because these it sounds like it's very encouraging, some of the stuff being done with veterans and stuff like that.
Let's take Michigan, for instance, regarding sobriety court. Again, it's a state-funded program. Not all courts have the ability to offer sobriety court or drug court or veterans court. Veterans court is something that is definitely needed. Can't support our vets enough, for sure. But it's just amazing when I see clients get into the program, and especially the support they get from the men and women, from the prosecutors, from the judges, from the directors and all the staff, down from the from each department. It's pretty amazing how much these men and women give back. You're not just thrown on probation. Here, take a couple classes, go do community service. It's a lot different. They're trying to get to the root of the issue, whether it's both mental, you have mental health issues together with substance abuse issues. A lot of times people will try to self-medicate when there's some underlying issues. And so a lot of these programs, the men and women are trained to address some of the mental health issues that lead to, poor choices where substance abuse is involved. And so it's a lot different than just, go ahead, you're going to be placed on a year probation. Take a class online and keep in touch.
Yeah, that doesn't really do anything. Rehabilitation starts by actually helping and actually trying to get to the bottom of the problem, as opposed to just trying to throw it away in jail or something like that. But
again, we all have defects, and maybe there's people out there who do not. And I don't want to, no disrespect to any men and women out there listening to the show who say, I don't have any defects or shortcomings, but I don't know, man. Growing up, I was told by more than a handful of family members about mine. So
I think everybody has them, just to what various degrees you have them, whether they're enough to defects to make you do things that possibly you'll regret later.
Just got to wake up every day and fight the good fight. You got two little characters on both of your shoulders.
That's true.
Like the cartoon. One saying, Craig Russell, let's go out and do this today. And then the other Craig Russell says, nah, don't do that. So what option are you going to take?
I'm going to take the option we take a break. We do have to take a break on the Todd 11 Law Show.
Craig Russell, the muscle, the hustle, right here on the Black Diamond Group, a station of all stations. And by the way, you are the fast food guy on YouTube. So I would highly recommend anyone and everyone out there, if you are an individual who does not have a YouTube account, talk to somebody who does and check out Craig's fast food guy channel and subscribe to it, because Craig, you're hilarious on YouTube.
And you riding death-defying feats, riding on your fat bikes and your fat tire bikes and everything, leaning over the edge of cliffs and stuff like that. That thing gives me the willies.
Yeah.
But check out Todd's,
I know we have to go to break.
We do.
Sorry, go ahead.
We do have to go to break, but check out Todd's channel as well, Todd L. Levitt on YouTube. We'll be right back after this.
Cruising with the wind, I wasn't looking when you pulled me in. I had to leave you like I always did. You knew damn well I'd come again. Now I'm falling where I've never been. My resistance is wearing thin. Somewhere in the distance, like a long lost friend. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, yeah. Lord, here I come again. Come again.
Welcome back to the Todd L. Levitt Law Show. Last segment coming back strong. Thank you, Uncle Ted. Thank you, Damn Yankees, Tommy Shaw, and all the other members of my all-time favorite supergroup, equal to Mad Season, though, with Lane Staley. I love Mad Season and that supergroup from the early 90s as well. So those, in my mind, are equal supergroups. What say you, Craig?
Dude, you just love the rock, man. You love those supergroups. I'm a big fan of Asia myself, that supergroup from the early 80s.
I like Asia.
Yeah,
they're
good. They're a good band. They're a good band.
Yeah, can you name an Asian song from Asia?
An Asia song, Heat of the Moment. Remember that?
How's it go?
Heat of the moment.
Of the moment.
Telling my heart band.
I think, okay, how about that song? Okay, I don't want to sing it because people are going to turn the show off.
If they
we
haven't
built
already.
this city.
Oh, God, dude. Don't do
we
that,
built
man.
this.
Don't do that, man.
That one goes out to Little John.
Oh,
Little John loves that song. We
Little
built
John.
this city on rock and roll.
Todd! I love that song, Todd. I'm sorry. I'm trying to
Is that your Little John impression?
That's my terrible Little John impression.
As soon as we
not
get
good.
past Little John, listen, Little John, if you don't know who Little John is, he does the opening of our show. We love Little John, and he gives so much back to this community in
he's a
which we
great
live
guy.
in.
He's a great
I
guy.
mean, beyond. I mean, this guy gives so much back. But we can't, and we're waiting for things to health-wise settle down in the world to get Little John back on the show. But Todd, he won't tell you what you want to hear. He's going to tell you what you need to hear.
And unfortunately we would love to have him like on Zoom or something like that, but I don't think he can figure that out. So that probably,
And Little John is little. He's like 4 foot.
Yeah.
I think he corrected me after the last show, but but he doesn't. That song. Who sings that song?
that's the Starship. The Starship.
Starship.
Yeah.
Starship.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with Guardians of the Galaxy, one of my favorite shows.
No, different.
Where what's his name plays the Star Lord.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to go with it.
Did I throw you off on that? I'm a fan of the Mandalorian. I like those sci-fi shows.
Yeah, I know. That's all you, man. All you.
You know it.
Yeah.
I got to tell you.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Tell me.
I just, again, and this has nothing to do with the show, but man, we always talk about how we love our vets and whatnot. But last week I met a family. I was out and about, and their son had just entered the Marines, and the father had been a Marine. And man, I just wanted to. I couldn't, but I wanted to hug and thank this family for their service to our country. But it just makes you so proud when you meet any young, man or woman who joins any branch of our armed services, from the Coasties to, the reserves, but the Navy, the Air Force, the Army, the Marines. I had a lot of my very close family members spent a lot of time at Fort Benning, Georgia, in the Army. I don't know. It just popped into my noggin there because I was going to talk about it early on and give them a shout out, but just out of respect to them, I'm not going to mention their name, but just a big shout out to those folks and all our men and women in the armed services. But it was so great to meet this young guy who just was on his, I think he was done with boot camp, and on his way to his next
Deployment
or whatever they were going to have him, wherever he was going. Yeah.
Well, that's
anyway.
and that's,
I don't know.
and that,
I deviate there.
And that's
but thank you to all the men and women who serve and will serve.
Well, and that's something we often forget about. It's like when someone joins the military, it's not just them; their family joins too. Because not only are they concerned about them, but they do a lot of sacrificing, especially young couples and things who have to move around a lot, and then you got kids who have to move around. There's a lot of family sacrifice for someone making a career out of the military, and albeit we can't thank them enough for what they do to keep us the freest country in the world, and to keep our standard of living and what we do here, us being able to do this show, and everybody who is able to do all the things that we're able to do. It's only because of the military and because they keep us free, and we can't thank them enough, and can't thank their families enough as well.
I got a great military story that when we used to, my cousin AZ and I used to run Skate War, our big skateboard competition. All branches of the military were our sponsors. And it was really interesting submitting the documents that would go to Detroit and Washington, D.C. for approval for, the Army or the Air Force or the Marines or the Navy to sponsor these massive skateboard events we used to put on here in mid-Michigan. with hundreds of participants and whatnot. And the military always sponsored it, came out, provided stuff for the young men and women who were participating as inline skaters or BMXers or skateboarders. So, I mean, the military, even those that are stationed here within our state, do a great job. I mean, how often are you driving up and down the ditch and you see the men and women in their vehicles heading up to Grayling or Selfridge Air Force Base? I mean, it just makes you so proud, doesn't it? I mean,
it does.
Just, I always slow down and move over. Folks, don't ever cut off a convoy.
Oh, God,
no.
Come on.
Seriously?
Come on.
You know, I've seen it, okay? If you see a convoy of military vehicles, I don't care which state you live in, slow down and move over. Don't get in the middle of one of those vehicles. Don't put our men and women and your those loved ones at risk. They're training. They're on their way to do something that allows us to do what we do each and every week on this show and gives you your freedoms. I haven't seen that too often, but you'll notice in some of these military convoys for some of the men and women who are on their way, whether they're in the reserves or active duty, every now and then you'll see a vehicle that, a civilian vehicle in there that doesn't have a government plate on it, that doesn't belong between some of these vehicles that are transporting, equipment, gasoline, and troops. So get the heck out of their way.
Yeah, don't put their life in danger. Their lives are already going to be in danger when sometimes they have to fight. Don't do that here at home. They're going to have to do that some other time, or they have the potential of having to do that some other time. Don't cause that problem here. Come on. I
know we're a law show, but that just really annoys me.
Know.
I've only seen it maybe once or twice. I know it happens more often over the years, but in Michigan we have, a pretty big military presence here in the state with our bases, and we're to the north. So it's just something I was thinking about during Christmas season here to keep everybody safe and healthy.
Speaking of this being a law show, I hate to break the news to you. This law show is over.
Come on, Craig. What are you talking about? We're just getting started. We're going 24 hours, 7 days a week right now. We're going to keep going. In fact, I think we should just stay on air because you and I are the only ones on the station right now.
Yeah, but you know what? Tammy will come up and pull us off the air. It's going to happen.
Tammy Thompson will not do that. She will allow this show to go on for 24 hours, 7 days a week. I think we need to get a petition signed to extend the show for another 2 hours, Craig.
Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that, my friend. Good luck.
I think our singing alone is My Grease, Danny Zuko, Summer Lovin' song to get rid of It's Just a Bill on Capitol Hill. I think that and you're singing. You sang earlier. What were you singing?
No, I was singing a bunch of crap. Yeah, no, that gets us kicked off right off the bat. So, Todd, the show is over. We got to go, man.
Craig, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time. We want everyone to make it a healthy time. And we'll see you same place, same time next week right here. Black Diamond Group station and or on podcast, the Todd L. Levitt Law Show featuring my good friend Craig Russell, the Muscle, the Hustle. Until next week, Craig, take us out with Uncle Ted.
Fred Bear, walk with me down the trails again. Take me back where I belong. Oh, Fred Bear, I'm glad to have you at my side, my friend. And I'll join you on the big hunt before too long. Oh, Fred Bear, walk with me down the trails again. Take me back where I belong. Oh, Fred Bear, I'm glad to have you at my side, my friend. And I'll join you in the big hunt before too long. In the wind, he's still alive. 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 In the wind, I hear Fred Bear.
The Todd L. Levitt Law Show, brought to you by Chad Malley Well Drilling of Rosebush, Clark Modular Homes, your most experienced and trusted builder in Mount Pleasant, and attorney Todd L. Levitt, not just a litigator, he's an advocator.
Opinions expressed on this radio program do not necessarily reflect the views of this radio station.